The doorbell rang at exactly the wrong moment. Or maybe it was exactly the right one. I'll never know which. Hello? My name is Margaret Sullivan. Most people call me Maggie. I'm 66 years old, and I live in a 3-bedroom ranch house in Naperville, Illinois, about 40 minutes west of Chicago when the traffic cooperates. I taught second grade for 41 years at Lincoln Elementary School. Retired 3 years ago. My husband passed away 17 years back. I'm telling you this because what happened that Tuesday afternoon in May sounds impossible. You might think I'm exaggerating, or that I'm confused. But I'm not. My mind is sharp. I still grade papers in my sleep sometimes. Old habits die hard. Let me back up. I wasn't always this careful. Wasn't always someone who double checks the locks or keeps her phone charged to 100%. For most of my life, I was the woman who left her car unlocked in the driveway. Who gave spare keys to half the neighborhood, who believed that good intentions and a warm heart could solve most problems. My mother used to say I'd give away my last dollar if someone looked sad enough. She wasn't wrong. When I was 9, I gave my winter coat to a girl at school because hers had a broken zipper. Came home shivering. Got pneumonia. My mother was furious, but my father just shook his head and smiled. "That's our Maggie," he said. I married young. 22 years old. Robert Sullivan was 24, worked at a metal fabrication plant in Cicero. Steady work. Good benefits. We weren't rich, but we had enough. Small wedding at St. Michael's Church. Honeymoon weekend at a bed and breakfast in Galena. We laughed about how the shower was so small that only one person could fit at a time. We had one child, Daniel, born in 1981. 8 pounds, 3 ounces. Full head of dark hair like his father. Robert wanted more children, but the pregnancy was difficult. The doctor said another might be risky. So Danny became everything. Our whole world in one small body. He was a sweet boy. Truly. People think I'm making that up now, rewriting history. But I have the photographs. Danny at 4, gap-toothed, holding a dandelion he'd picked for me. Danny at 7, reading to our dog Chester. Danny at 12, crying when Chester died, burying him in the backyard with a wooden cross he'd made himself in shop class. Robert died when Danny was 26. Sudden heart attack at the plant. 51 years old. No warning. 1 minute he was fine. The next minute he was gone. They called me at school during third period. I remember Mrs. Peterson taking over my classroom. I remember driving to the hospital. I don't remember much after that. At the funeral, Robert's brother Jim pulled me aside. "Don't let Danny use this as an excuse," he said. I didn't understand then. I do now. After Robert died, something shifted in me. Or maybe in Danny. Or maybe it had always been there, and I just couldn't see it. Grief makes you blind in certain ways. Makes you hold on tighter to what's left. Danny started asking for money. Small amounts at first. $400 for car repairs. $600 for a security deposit. I said yes every time. What else could I do? He was all I had left. Then he met Nicole. Pretty girl. Blonde hair, bright smile. Real estate agent. She wore heels that clicked when she walked. Called me Maggie from day one, which felt too familiar, but I didn't say anything. They got engaged after 6 months. Married a year later. I paid for most of the wedding. $23,000. Nicole wanted roses in January. Do you know what roses cost in January? The requests got bigger after that. Down payment help. Credit card debt. Just this once, Mom. I promise I'll pay you back. Nicole's family would help, but they're going through a rough patch. I kept saying yes. Took money from my retirement account. The one Robert and I had built together, $50 at a time. I told myself it was temporary. That Danny was going through a phase. That he'd remember who he was and come back to me. Last month, they showed up at my door without calling first. Danny had a folder in his hand. Legal size manila folder. Nicole stood behind him with her arms crossed. She was wearing sunglasses even though it was overcast. "We need to talk," Danny said. I made coffee. They didn't drink it. Danny opened the folder and pulled out papers. Power of attorney, it said at the top. He explained it like I was one of my second graders. Like I hadn't been managing money and mortgages for 40 years. "It's just for emergencies, Mom. In case something happens to you. So we can take care of things." I looked at Nicole. She was examining her nails. "I don't need this," I said. Danny's face changed. Got harder. "Mom, you're 66. You live alone. What if you fall? What if you have a stroke? Then I'll call 911. "Mom, no, that was 3 weeks ago." They left angry. Didn't call after that. No Mother's Day card this year. First time in 44 years. This afternoon, they came back without warning. Danny used his old key, the one I'd forgotten he still had. I was in the kitchen making tea when I heard the front door open. My heart jumped. For a second, I thought he'd come to apologize. He hadn't. Nicole walked in first. Different hair now. Darker. Shorter. She looked at me like I was something stuck to her shoe. Danny followed. He had the folder again. His jaw was tight. Eyes bloodshot. "You're going to sign this," he said. Not a question. A command. My hands were shaking. I set down the teacup. "Danny, please. Let's talk about this. We're done talking." He threw the papers on the table. "Sign it. Now." "I can't do that." He took a step closer. I could smell something on his breath. Not alcohol. Something sharper. Anxiety. Desperation. "You think you can just cut us off? After everything we've done for you? Everything they'd done for me." I almost laughed. That's when he reached for his belt. Started pulling it through the loops, one at a time. Slow. Deliberate. The leather made a sliding sound against the fabric. Nicole was smiling. Actually smiling. "Sign it, Maggie," she said. "Don't make this harder than it needs to be." I opened my mouth. Closed it. I don't know what I was going to say. I don't know what would have happened next. Because that's when the doorbell rang. The doorbell rang again. Louder this time. More insistent. Danny's hand froze on his belt. Nicole turned toward the sound. For 3 seconds, nobody moved. Then I did something that surprised all of us. I walked to the door. "Mom, don't." I opened it. 2 men stood on my porch. One I recognized immediately. David Williams. He'd been Robert's attorney. Handled the will, helped with the estate paperwork. He was older now, more gray hair, deeper lines around his eyes. But the same kind face. The other man wore a uniform. Naperville Police Department. His nameplate said Miller. "Mrs. Sullivan," David said. His voice was calm, steady, professional. "I apologize for not calling first. May we come in?" I nodded. Couldn't speak. They walked past me into the living room. Danny had put his belt back on, buckle fastened, hands at his sides. Nicole was sitting on the couch now, legs crossed, posture casual. Like she'd been there the whole time. Like nothing had happened. "What's this about?" Danny asked. His voice was different now. Higher. Strained. Officer Miller looked at the papers scattered on my kitchen table. Looked at me. Looked at Danny. "We received a call from Mr. Williams here regarding potential elder financial abuse. We need to ask some questions." Nicole stood up fast, chair scraping against the floor. This is ridiculous. We're family. We're trying to help her. Then you won't mind answering a few questions, Miller said. His tone was neutral, but his eyes were sharp. What happened next took 2 hours. They asked me questions, asked Danny questions, asked Nicole questions, took photos of the papers. Miller wrote in a small notebook with careful, precise handwriting. David sat beside me the whole time. His presence felt like a wall. Something solid between me and them. Eventually, Danny and Nicole left. Didn't say goodbye, just walked out, Nicole's heels clicking on the hardwood. The door slamming hard enough to rattle the frame. David made me tea. Strong, hot, with honey the way I like it. We sat at my kitchen table. The same table where I'd eaten breakfast with Robert for 29 years. Where I'd helped Danny with homework. Where I'd sat alone after the funeral, staring at Robert's empty chair. How did you know to come? I asked. Carol called me, he said. Your neighbor. She was worried about you. Carol, of course. She'd been after me for months to do something. To stop giving money. To set boundaries. I'd smiled and nodded and done nothing. Maggie, David said gently. I need you to tell me how this started. All of it. From the beginning. So I did. It started so long ago I can barely see the beginning anymore. Like looking at an old photograph that's been in the sun too long. The colors faded. The edges blurred. The details lost. Robert and I were happy. I know people say that all the time. I know it sounds simple, maybe even naive. But it's true. We didn't have much. His paycheck covered the mortgage and groceries. Mine covered everything else. We never went on fancy vacations. Never drove new cars. Never ate at expensive restaurants. But we had dinner together every single night. Held hands in church. Laughed at stupid jokes that nobody else would find funny. Danny was our joy. Our absolute joy. When he was little, Robert would come home from the plant covered in metal dust, his work clothes stiff with it. The first thing he'd do was scoop Danny up and toss him in the air. Danny would shriek with laughter. I'd pretend to be worried, hands on my hips. Be careful. But I loved watching them together. Robert taught Danny to ride a bike. To throw a baseball. To change a tire. Father-son things. I taught him to read. To say please and thank you. To think about other people's feelings before his own. We were a team, Robert and I. We balanced each other out. Danny was 12 when Robert's father died. 78 years old. Heart attack. Just like Robert would have 17 years later. Sometimes I wonder if Robert knew somehow. If he saw his own future in his father's death. At the funeral, Robert told Danny something. I was standing right there, close enough to hear every word. You see that, son? That's how life works. One day you're here, next day you're not. So you work hard. You treat people right. You don't take anything for granted. Danny nodded solemnly. He was wearing his first suit, borrowed from a cousin. Too big in the shoulders. I understand, Dad, and you take care of your mother when I'm gone. But you stand on your own 2 feet. You hear me? A man stands on his own. I didn't think much of it at the time. Just father-son talk. The kind of wisdom fathers pass down. But Robert knew something I didn't. He always did. The heart attack happened at the plant on a Tuesday afternoon. February 14, 2007. Valentine's Day. I'd made his favorite dinner that morning before school. Pot roast with carrots and potatoes. It was sitting in the oven, warming, when the phone rang at 2:30. They said he didn't suffer. They said it was instant. They said a lot of things that were supposed to make me feel better. I don't remember most of them. I remember the hospital. The fluorescent lights that made everything look green and harsh. The smell of antiseptic mixed with floor wax. The doctor's tired face when he came out to the waiting room. "I'm sorry, Mrs. Sullivan. We did everything we could." I remember Danny crying. Really crying, not the kind of crying you can control. The kind that sounds like choking, like drowning. He was 26 years old. A grown man. But he looked like a child in that moment. "Dad," he kept saying. "Dad, no. Dad, please." At the funeral, Robert's brother Jim pulled me aside during the reception at the church basement. The same brother who'd said something similar years before. "Maggie, listen to me. Danny's going to lean on you now. That's natural. That's what sons do. But don't let him lean too hard. Don't let him fall into you so completely that he forgets how to stand up." Robert wouldn't want that. I nodded. Said something appropriate. But I wasn't really listening. The casket was still visible through the doorway, 20 feet away. My husband was in that box. Nothing else mattered in that moment. The first year after Robert died was pure fog. I went to school every morning. Taught my classes. Came home every afternoon. Sat in the dark. Sometimes I'd realize hours had passed and I hadn't moved, hadn't eaten, hadn't done anything but sit there. Danny called every day without fail. "How are you doing, Mom?" He'd come over on weekends. Mow the lawn. Fix things around the house. It felt good, having him there. Not being completely alone. Then he started asking for help. Small things at first. "Mom, my car needs new brakes. Can you lend me $400? I'll pay you back next month." I gave it to him. Didn't ask for it back when next month came. "Mom, I'm moving to a better apartment. Need first month's rent and security deposit. $1,500 total?" I gave it to him. "Mom, I'm taking some business classes at the community college. Tuition's $3,000. I gave it to him. Every single time, I told myself this was temporary. This was grief. He'd lost his father. He needed time to find his footing. He needed support. What kind of mother would I be if I said no? Then he met Nicole. She worked at a real estate office in Wheaton. Danny met her at an open house for a condo he couldn't possibly afford. He told me later he fell in love immediately. "She's beautiful, Mom. And smart. She really knows about investments and property values and all that stuff." I met her 3 weeks later. Danny brought her to Sunday dinner. She wore a cream-colored dress that probably cost more than my monthly grocery budget. She complimented my house, my cooking, my garden. Everything exactly right. Almost too right, like she'd rehearsed it. "Danny talks about you constantly," she said, smiling over her wine glass. "He's so lucky to have such a generous mother." Something about the way she emphasized generous made me uncomfortable. But I smiled, nodded, served more potatoes. They got engaged fast. 6 months of dating. Danny was 31. Nicole was 27. The engagement ring cost $6,000. He didn't ask me for help with that, but I saw the credit card bill later when he left it on my counter one Sunday. Minimum payment $180. Interest rate 24%. The wedding was the following summer. Nicole wanted everything perfect. The right venue. The right flowers. The right photographer. Her dress alone was $4,000. For one dress. One day. "My parents can't help much," she told me over coffee one afternoon, her voice dropping to something confidential, almost apologetic. "Dad's business is struggling. Mom's on disability. And Danny's salary." She trailed off with a sad smile. I wrote the check. $23,000. More than half my retirement account gone in one afternoon. Robert and I had saved that money over 30 years. $40 here, $60 there, tax refunds, bonuses, birthday money from his parents. At the wedding, Nicole's mother hugged me tight, smelling of expensive perfume. "You're so wonderful," she gushed. "Nicole is so lucky to have you as family. I should have felt happy. Should have felt honored. Instead, I just felt tired. And a little empty." After the wedding, the requests kept coming. More frequent now. Bigger amounts. "Nicole's car died. We need a down payment on something reliable. $7,000? Our rent went up. Can you help with the difference? Just for a few months until I get a raise? Nicole's pregnant. We need to move somewhere bigger, safer. Can you help with moving costs?" Every time, I said yes. Because what else could I do? They were building a life. Starting a family. Didn't grandparents help with that? Wasn't that normal? My retirement account got smaller. Then smaller still. I stopped looking at the statements. Stopped checking the balance. Ignorance felt safer than knowledge. Carol noticed. She came over one afternoon without calling first. Sat at my kitchen table with her arms crossed. Said what nobody else would. "Maggie, you need to stop." "Stop what?" "Giving them money. They're using you. They're not using me. They're my family. They're bleeding you dry. Danny's 43 years old. He should be taking care of himself. Taking care of you. You don't understand. Robert died. Danny lost his father. He needs." "Robert died 17 years ago," Carol said. Her voice was gentle but absolutely firm. At some point, grief becomes an excuse. I asked her to leave. We didn't talk for 2 weeks after that. But her words stayed with me. Kept me awake at night. I'd lie in bed staring at the ceiling, doing math in my head. How much had I given them over the years? 30,000? 50? More? I didn't want to know the real number. Because if I knew the real number, I'd have to admit something I wasn't ready to admit. Last month, everything changed. Danny and Nicole showed up with those papers. Power of attorney. I'd heard about it before. Seen news stories about elderly people being manipulated, controlled. But I never thought, I never imagined. When I said no, Danny's face changed. Became someone I didn't recognize. Or maybe became someone he'd always been, and I'd just refused to see it. Now, sitting at my kitchen table with David, I felt something I hadn't felt in years. Maybe ever. Clarity. I enabled this, I said quietly. I created this situation. David shook his head. You loved your son. There's no crime in that. But I loved him wrong. Robert tried to tell me. Jim tried to tell me. Carol tried to tell me. I didn't listen to any of them. It's not too late to start listening now. I looked at him. Really looked at him. What do I do? What are my options? First, we revoke any informal authority they think they have over you or your assets. Second, we review your finances completely. See what's gone where and when. Third, he paused, choosing his words carefully. Third, if they try this again, if they threaten you again, we involve law enforcement formally. Today was a warning shot. Next time won't be. My hands were shaking again. Not from fear this time. From something else entirely. Something like anger. Something like grief. Something like finally waking up after a very long sleep. They'll come back, I said with certainty. I know. Danny will hate me. Maybe. For a while. I'm his mother. I'm supposed to protect him. David's voice was quiet but steady. Maggie, sometimes protection looks like saying no. Sometimes it looks like letting someone fall so they can learn to stand back up. Robert had said that. Not in those exact words, but close enough. A man stands on his own. I'd forgotten. Or I'd chosen to forget because it was easier. Easier to give money than to have hard conversations. Easier to be the good mother than the honest one. David left an hour later. Gave me his business card with his cell phone written on the back. Said to call anytime, day or night, if I needed anything at all. I sat alone in my house. The house Robert and I had bought in 1983 for $68,000. The house where we'd raised Danny. Where we'd been happy. Outside my window, I could see Carol's porch light glowing warm and steady. She was probably watching, probably worried, probably praying I'd finally had enough. I picked up my phone. Stared at Danny's name in my contacts. 3 weeks since he'd called. 3 weeks since I'd heard his voice except for today, when he'd stood in my kitchen holding a belt like a weapon. I should call him. Apologize. Smooth things over. Make it right. That's what the old Maggie would do. But the old Maggie had just spent 43 years creating a son who thought he could threaten his own mother. I put the phone down. Tomorrow, I'd call David. Start the process of taking back control of my life. Tonight, I'd sit in my house. Drink my tea. And begin the hardest work I'd ever done. Learning to love my son without destroying both of us in the process. I called David the next morning. Wednesday, 8:45. I'd been awake since 5, sitting at the kitchen table with cold coffee, watching the sun come up. I need to know where I stand, I told him. Legally, financially, all of it. He came over that afternoon with a paralegal. Young woman named Sarah, maybe 30 years old, efficient and kind. They sat at my dining table with folders and laptops and asked me questions. Gentle questions, but they still hurt to answer. Have you signed any documents recently? Besides the power of attorney they tried to get you to sign? I thought about it. Searched my memory. No, I don't think so. Are you sure? Any trusts, transfer documents, loan applications, anything at all? And that's when I remembered. It was 8 months ago. Late October. Nicole was 4 months pregnant with her belly just starting to show. They'd found out it was a girl. Danny called me for the first time in weeks. Mom, we need to talk. Can we come over Sunday? They arrived around 2 in the afternoon. Nicole wore a loose blue maternity dress. Kept one hand on her stomach constantly. Danny carried a gift bag with tissue paper sticking out the top. We brought you something, he said with a smile that looked almost genuine. Inside was a picture frame with one of those ultrasound photos. Grainy black and white, a small curved shape that barely looked human. My granddaughter. Her name will be Emma, Nicole said softly. Emma Rose Sullivan. I cried. Actually cried real tears for the first time in months. She's beautiful. She is, Danny agreed. And Mom, we want her to have the best life possible. The best start. That's why we're here. They laid it out carefully, like they'd practiced. Their apartment was too small. 1 bedroom, barely 600 square feet. Nicole was already down to part-time at the real estate office. Morning sickness, fatigue. Danny's salary wasn't enough to cover a bigger place. They'd looked at houses, done the math. Everything was too expensive. We could barely afford rent, Danny said, spreading his hands helplessly. How are we supposed to save for a down payment? For a nursery? For everything a baby needs? Nicole touched my hand. Her fingers were cold. We know this is a huge ask, Maggie. But we were thinking. This house is so big. 3 bedrooms, just you here. And we'd take such good care of it. You could stay with us, of course. We'd have room for you. A real family home. All of us together, raising Emma together. I felt something cold spread through my chest. You want my house? We want Emma to grow up somewhere safe, Danny said quickly. Somewhere stable. With a yard. With good schools nearby. Like I did. But this is my home. It could be our home, Nicole interjected. All of us. Isn't that what family does? Help each other? Support each other? They stayed for 2 hours. Talking, explaining, showing me numbers on Danny's phone. Rent prices skyrocketing. House prices even worse. The cost of daycare, formula, diapers. Medical bills for the pregnancy. We're drowning, Mom, Danny said at one point. His voice cracked convincingly. I don't know what else to do. I don't want to fail Emma before she's even born. I wanted to say no. Wanted to tell them to figure it out themselves, the way every generation has. But Nicole's hand kept drifting to her belly. My granddaughter was in there. Growing. Needing things. Needing stability. What kind of grandmother says no to that? They came back 2 weeks later with papers. Not the power of attorney this time. Something different. A trust document, Danny said. Just so everything's organized. For tax purposes. Estate planning. David Williams actually recommended something like this when Dad died, remember? That was a lie. I know that now. But I didn't question it then. It's temporary, Nicole assured me. Just until we get on our feet financially. 2 years, maybe 3. Then we'll transfer everything back to you. It'll all be in writing. I should have called David myself. Should have read every single page carefully. Should have asked 1,000 questions. Instead, I signed it. 11 pages. My signature at the bottom of each one, dated and witnessed. They left happy that day. Hugging me. Thanking me. Promising to call soon with updates. Making plans for Emma's nursery, showing me paint colors on Nicole's phone. That was October. By December, they'd stopped answering my calls altogether. You signed a trust document? David's face went very still, the way faces do when someone's trying to control their reaction. They said it was temporary. They said you recommended it. Maggie, I never, he stopped. Took a slow breath through his nose. Do you have a copy? I didn't. They'd taken all the papers with them. Said they'd file everything properly and send me copies later. The copies never came. David and Sarah exchanged a look that made my stomach drop. What? I asked. What does that mean? It means we need to pull your property records immediately, David said, already reaching for his phone. Today. Right now. It took 3 hours. Sarah made phone calls. Sent emails. Pulled up websites I'd never heard of. Cook County Recorder of Deeds. Illinois Property Database. Legal description searches. At 6:15, she turned her laptop toward me with a careful, sympathetic expression. My house. My address 412 Maple Street, Naperville, Illinois. But the ownership line read, Sullivan Family Irrevocable Trust. Below that, in red, first mortgage $485,000. Lender Brightview Home Loans. Origination date November 2nd. I couldn't breathe. Actually couldn't breathe. The room went gray at the edges, narrowing to a tunnel. Maggie, look at me. David's voice cut through the fog. Breathe. In through your nose. Out through your mouth. That's it. Again. I did. Eventually the room came back into focus. $485,000, I whispered. On a house that's been paid off since 2009. Sarah was already typing, fingers flying across the keyboard. Let me pull the loan documents. See what they disclosed as the purpose. More waiting. More pages loading. More legal language that made my head spin and my stomach turn. Here, Sarah said quietly. Loan purpose debt consolidation and home improvements. What debt? I asked, though part of me already knew. What improvements? David's jaw was tight. Maggie, I need your permission to pull your credit report. to see the full picture. I nodded, signed another authorization form with shaking hands. 10 minutes later, he had the answer. Nicole had $17,000 in credit card debt spread across 3 cards. Neiman Marcus, Nordstrom, American Express. Danny had $12,000 on cards I'd never heard of. And a car loan, $62,000, for a BMW X5. They bought a BMW, I said flatly. It wasn't a question, just words. Empty words filling empty space. A 2023 X5, Sarah confirmed gently. Registered 2 weeks after the mortgage was funded. I thought about my car. A 2011 Honda Accord. Paid off. 162,000 miles. Still ran fine. Still got me where I needed to go. I thought about Robert. His work boots with the steel toes, polished every Sunday night. His metal lunchbox with the thermos that never quite sealed right. The way he'd pack the same sandwich every single day for 29 years. Turkey and Swiss cheese. No mayo. No lettuce. I thought about all those Sundays. Danny sitting at this exact table. Eating my cooking. Laughing at my jokes. Asking for money. Smiling. Lying. Maggie? David's voice seemed to come from far away. Are you okay? No, I said honestly. I don't think I am. Carol found me that night. I was sitting on my back porch in the dark. Cold for May, maybe 50 degrees. I hadn't bothered to turn the light on or get a sweater. Maggie Sullivan, you scared me half to death. She was wearing her pink fleece bathrobe and slippers. I saw all your lights were off. Thought maybe. She stopped when she saw my face. What happened? I told her everything. The trust. The mortgage. The BMW. The debt. All of it. She didn't say, I told you so. She easily could have. Instead, she just sat beside me on the cold wooden bench. Put her arm around my shoulders. We sat like that for a long time, not talking, just being. What are you going to do? She finally asked. I don't know. Yes, you do. I looked at her. Carol, you're going to fight. You're going to take back what's yours. And you're going to stop letting them hurt you. He's my son. And you're his mother. Which means you're supposed to teach him right from wrong. You didn't do that before. You can do it now. Something in her voice. Something hard and true and uncompromising. Robert would have said the same thing. I don't know if I can. Then learn how. She stayed until 11. Made me tea in my own kitchen. Sat with me. Didn't let me spiral. When she finally left, she hugged me hard enough that I felt it in my ribs. Call me tomorrow after you talk to David. Promise me? Promise. That night, I couldn't sleep. Kept thinking about Emma. She'd be 6 months old now, maybe 7. I hadn't seen her. Hadn't held her. Danny had sent one photo right after she was born. Tiny red face, eyes squeezed shut, pink hospital cap. After that, nothing. I'd thought it was about space. New parents needing time to adjust, to bond, to figure things out. Now I understood the truth. They'd gotten what they wanted from me. And I was no longer useful. David called Wednesday morning at 9. I've filed a revocation of the trust document. Cited fraud and undue influence. I've also filed a complaint with Adult Protective Services for financial exploitation of a vulnerable adult. I'm not vulnerable, I protested. I'm just stupid. You're not stupid, Maggie. You're trusting. There's a difference. Not anymore, there isn't. He was quiet for a moment. There's something else you need to know. They'll be served with papers. Probably today or tomorrow. They're going to be very upset. Good. I'm serious. Be careful. Lock your doors. Don't open them unless you know exactly who it is. If they show up, call me immediately. Call the police if you feel even slightly threatened. Danny wouldn't actually hurt me. Danny held a belt in your kitchen 4 days ago, Maggie. That stopped me cold. Because it was true. And I'd been trying to pretend it wasn't. Okay, I said quietly. I'll be careful. I mean it. People do desperate things when they're cornered. When they see everything they've built collapsing. They were served on Thursday afternoon. I know because Danny called at 7:30 that night. First time in 3 months I'd heard his voice. What the hell did you do? His voice was shaking. Not sad shaking. Angry shaking. Barely controlled rage. I protected myself. Protected yourself? You're destroying us. Do you understand what this means? They're going to take the house. We'll have nothing. Emma will have nothing. You took my house, Danny. You lied to me. You forged documents. Forged? I didn't forge anything. You signed it. You gave it to us willingly. I signed what I thought was a temporary arrangement. Not a mortgage. Not $49,000 in credit card debt. Not a BMW. Silence. Heavy, crackling silence. Then, who told you about the car? Does it matter? Nicole needed reliable transportation. For the baby. For safety. For $62,000? You don't understand how expensive things are now. Everything costs more than it used to. The economy. Stop. My voice was louder than I intended. Sharper. Just stop. I'm done listening to excuses. Fine. You want to know the truth? We're selling the house. Getting whatever we can out of it before this whole thing collapses. If you'd just worked with us, if you'd just been reasonable, this could have been easy. Now you've ruined everything. You can't sell it. I've revoked the trust. We'll see what a judge says about that. He hung up. I sat there holding the phone, staring at the screen until it went dark. My hand was shaking again. But not from fear. From rage. Pure, clear, burning rage. For 43 years, I'd been the good mother. The patient mother. The understanding mother. The mother who always said yes. And what had it gotten me? A son who threatened me. A daughter-in-law who mocked me. A mortgage on a paid-off house. And a granddaughter I'd never even met. I called David back. What happens now? Now we fight, he said simply. And Maggie? We're going to win this. I wanted to believe him. Wanted to feel strong and certain and righteous. But all I felt was tired. Tired and sad and unbearably alone. Outside my window, I could see Carol's house. Her porch light on like always. A small bright spot in the surrounding dark. Robert used to say that's all you need sometimes. One light. One person who refuses to give up on you. I thought about Emma, 6 or 7 months old now. Learning to sit up, maybe. Learning to smile and laugh and reach for things. Growing up with parents who lied and stole and manipulated. What kind of woman would she become? What kind of grandmother would let that happen without a fight? I turned off all the lights in my house. Locked every door. Set the security alarm that David had insisted I install the day before. Tomorrow, the real battle would start. Tonight, I'd rest. Try to sleep. Try to gather my strength. And dream of a little girl who deserved better than the legacy her parents were building for her. She deserved a grandmother who knew how to say no, even when it hurt, especially when it hurt. They came back exactly 1 week later. Tuesday again. Same time. 3:15 in the afternoon. I was ready this time. David had warned me to expect it. They're desperate now, he'd said. The mortgage company is demanding answers. The trust is being challenged. Their whole scheme is falling apart. Desperate people make mistakes. I heard the key in the lock. The one I still hadn't asked for back. The door opened without hesitation. Danny walked in first, moving fast. Nicole behind him. She looked different. Thinner. Hair pulled back tight in a severe ponytail. No makeup. Dark circles under her eyes. Mom. Danny's voice was flat, empty of emotion. We need to talk. No, I said from my position by the kitchen counter. We don't. He pulled out papers. Different ones. New power of attorney documents. I could see the header even from where I stood. You're going to sign this. Right now. Today. Get out of my house. Your house? Nicole laughed. It was sharp, bitter, ugly. It's our house. We own it. We've been making the mortgage payments. The court will decide who owns what. Danny moved closer. Fast enough that I took a step back. The court? You actually took this to court? Against your own son? Against your own granddaughter? You stole from me, Danny. We didn't steal anything. You gave it to us. You signed the papers. This is buyer's remorse, nothing more. I gave you my trust. You gave me lies in return. His face changed then. Went red, then almost purple. Jaw clenched so tight I could see the muscles jumping. You self-righteous, he stopped. Took a breath that whistled through his teeth. Fine. You want to play it this way? Then we'll play it this way. Sign the papers. Right now. Or we make this very, very ugly. It's already ugly. That's when he reached for his belt. Started pulling it through the loops. Slow. Deliberate. One loop at a time. Leather sliding against fabric with a soft whisper. The buckle caught the afternoon light coming through the window. My heart was pounding so hard I could hear it in my ears. But I didn't move. Didn't look away. Danny, I said quietly, steadily. Your father would be ashamed of you. He froze with the belt halfway out. For 1 second, maybe less, I saw something flash across his face. Something like pain. Something like recognition. Then it was gone, replaced by cold anger. Don't you dare, he said through clenched teeth. Don't you dare talk about Dad. He told you to stand on your own 2 feet. Remember? At your grandfather's funeral. Shut up. He told you to take care of me. Not to use me. Not to bleed me dry. Shut up. Nicole stepped forward, heels clicking on my hardwood floor. Just sign it, Maggie. Stop being so dramatic. We all know you're going to give in eventually. You always do. You always have. She was actually smiling. Like this was amusing. Like I was a joke they'd been laughing about for years. Something broke inside me then. Or maybe something finally healed. Snapped into place after years of being fractured. No, I said clearly. I don't think I will. Danny raised the belt higher. Held it like a weapon. Mom, the doorbell rang. He stopped. Belt in the air, frozen mid-motion. We all turned toward the sound. Don't answer it, Nicole hissed. Don't you dare. I walked to the door. My legs felt steady. My hands didn't shake. I opened it wide. David stood there. Officer Miller beside him. Another officer too, younger, Hispanic. Name tag said Rodriguez. Mrs. Sullivan, Miller said formally. Is everything all right here? Behind me, I heard the belt buckle hit the floor. Metal against wood. Danny had dropped it. Actually, I said. No, it's not. What happened next felt surreal. Like watching a movie about someone else's life. Like it couldn't possibly be happening to me. Miller walked in first, hand near his belt. Rodriguez followed, scanning the room professionally. They looked at Danny, at Nicole, at the papers scattered on my table, at the belt lying on my floor. Sir, I need you to step back from Mrs. Sullivan, Miller said to Danny. This is a family matter, Danny protested. His voice had gone high, panicky. This is between me and my mother. This is elder abuse, Miller interrupted calmly. Financial exploitation at minimum, possibly physical threats. And we're taking it very seriously. Rodriguez picked up the belt with a gloved hand. Examined it. Put it carefully in a plastic evidence bag. Did you threaten Mrs. Sullivan with this item, sir? I didn't. I wasn't, Danny stammered. Nicole was already moving toward the door. I don't have to stay here. I haven't done anything wrong. I'm leaving. Ma'am, we need statements from everyone present, Rodriguez said, positioning himself between her and the door. Please sit down. They asked questions. So many questions. Taking notes, recording answers. Danny tried to explain, to justify, to make it sound reasonable. Nicole stayed quiet now, arms crossed, face blank, staring at nothing. I told them everything, every detail I could remember. The trust, the mortgage, the threats, the belt. David recorded it all on his phone. For the court record, he explained. At 5:30, they finally left. Miller gave me a case number written on his card. Said someone from Adult Protective Services would be calling within 48 hours. Rodriguez took photos of everything. The papers, the belt, even a photo of me, for the record. Danny didn't say goodbye, just walked out stiffly, like a robot. Nicole followed without a word. The door closed behind them. Silence. Complete, absolute silence. I sat down hard. My legs were shaking so badly they couldn't hold me anymore. Is it over? David sat across from me. The criminal part? Maybe. Depends on what the state's attorney decides. The civil part? That's just beginning. The court hearing was 3 weeks later. Circuit Court of Cook County. Judge Patricia Morrison presiding. Courtroom 506. I wore my Navy dress. The one I'd worn to parent-teacher conferences for decades. Professional, respectful, appropriate. My hands wouldn't stop shaking, so I kept them folded in my lap where no one could see. Danny wore a suit I'd never seen before. Cheap one, probably borrowed. Sleeves slightly too short. Nicole sat beside him in a black dress and sunglasses like she was attending a funeral. David presented everything methodically, professionally. The trust documents, the mortgage papers, the credit card statements, the BMW registration. My bank records showing 41 years of steady deposits and conservative savings. Then $43,000 gone in less than 2 years. Danny's lawyer tried his best. Argued that I'd willingly helped family members. That families support each other. That the trust was legitimate and properly executed. Judge Morrison looked tired. She'd probably seen 100 cases like this. Mrs. Sullivan, she said, looking directly at me. Did you understand what you were signing when you executed these trust documents? No, Your Honor. I thought it was temporary. They told me it was for estate planning purposes. They said it would be transferred back. Did you have independent legal counsel review the documents before signing? No, ma'am. They said their lawyer. I stopped. They lied. About everything. She looked at Danny over her reading glasses. Mr. Sullivan, did your mother benefit from this trust arrangement in any way whatsoever? His lawyer started to answer. The judge held up one hand. I asked your client, counselor. Danny stood slowly. We were going to take care of her. Let her live with us when she got older. But she still lives in her own house. Alone, correct? We needed time to arrange. Did you take out a $485,000 mortgage on her property without her knowledge? Silence. Mr. Sullivan? She signed the trust papers. Everything was legal. That's not what I asked you. Did you inform her you were taking out this mortgage? Yes or no? No, but, thank you. Judge Morrison's voice went cold as ice. I'm ruling the trust invalid, procured through fraud, misrepresentation, and undue influence. The mortgage is void ab initio. The property reverts to Mrs. Margaret Sullivan as sole owner. Mr. Sullivan, you and your wife have 30 days to satisfy the outstanding mortgage debt, or face potential criminal charges for fraud and elderly financial exploitation. The gavel came down. Bang. Sharp and final. It was over. Except it wasn't. Not really. I got my house back. Legally, officially, mine again. But I'd lost my son. Really, truly lost him. He called once. 2 days after the hearing. Sunday evening. I hope you're happy, he said. His voice was empty, hollow. We're losing everything. The bank repossessed the car. We're being evicted from the apartment. We have nothing. You lost it all when you lied to me, Danny. We have a child, Mom. Emma needs stability. She needs. Don't. My voice broke despite my best efforts. Don't use her as an excuse. Don't hide behind a baby you haven't even let me meet. You know what? Fine. Absolutely fine. You win. I hope your precious house keeps you warm at night. I hope it loves you back. He hung up. Didn't call again. 3 months passed. Summer bleeding into fall. I heard nothing directly. David checked occasionally through his connections. The BMW was repossessed, sold at auction. They'd moved to a cramped one-bedroom apartment in a rough neighborhood. Danny was working at a warehouse, overnight shift, minimum wage. Nicole's real estate license was suspended for unrelated ethics violations. I should have felt vindicated. Should have felt strong and righteous. I just felt empty. Then Carol came over one evening in mid-October. She had someone with her. Young woman, late 20s, dark hair, nervous eyes, fidgeting hands. Maggie, this is Sophia, Carol said carefully. She's Nicole's cousin. My stomach dropped. I don't want to hear. Please, Sophia interrupted. Just listen. 5 minutes. That's all I'm asking. I let them in reluctantly. Sophia sat on my couch, hands twisting together constantly. Nicole's planning something. She won't tell Danny. She's being really secretive. But I heard her on the phone with her aunt in Mexico. She's leaving. Taking Emma. She has plane tickets for Friday. She's not coming back. The room tilted. What? Her aunt lives in Monterey. Nicole has one-way tickets booked. She's going to tell Danny she's visiting her mom in Arizona for the weekend. Then she's just going to disappear with Emma. Danny knows about this? No, he has no idea. He'll come home Friday night and they'll just be gone. I couldn't breathe properly. Why are you telling me this? Sophia looked at me with red-rimmed eyes. Because Emma deserves better than this. She deserves to know her father. And because what Nicole did to you was wrong. I didn't say anything before when I should have. I was scared, and I was a coward. But I'm saying something now. After they left, I sat alone in the dark for hours. Thinking, wrestling with it. Danny had stolen from me. Lied to me. Threatened me with violence. But Emma was innocent. 8 months old now. My granddaughter. My blood. If Nicole took her to Mexico, I'd never see her. Danny would never see her. She'd grow up thinking her father abandoned her. Thinking her grandmother didn't care. I could let it happen. Call it karma. Call it justice. Call it not my problem anymore. Or I could do what mothers do. Even when it costs everything. Even when it's not fair. Even when the person you're saving doesn't deserve it. I called David. I need a lawyer, I said. A really good one. Family law specialist. Custody, international jurisdiction, parental rights. Maggie, I'm helping Danny. I'm making sure he gets his daughter back. After everything he did to you? He's still her father. She's still my granddaughter. And she deserves better than what either of her parents is giving her right now. Long silence. Then, okay. I know someone. Best family law attorney in the state. But Maggie? This is going to cost serious money. I know. Like, $40,000 or $50,000 potentially. I know. I spent $47,000. Nearly everything left in my retirement account. Gone again. David's colleague Rebecca filed emergency custody petitions. Got a judge to issue temporary protective orders. Put Nicole on the national no-fly list. Friday at 2 in the afternoon, Nicole arrived at O'Hare International Airport with Emma in a carrier, a diaper bag, and 3 large suitcases. TSA stopped her at the security checkpoint. She called Danny, screaming and crying. He didn't understand what was happening. Neither did she at first. Then Rebecca called them both. Explained the emergency custody hearing scheduled for Monday morning. Mandatory appearance. Failure to appear would result in arrest warrants. Danny called me that night. What did you do? I saved your daughter. Why? Why would you do that after everything Because she needs her father. Because she deserves to know you. And because you need a chance to be better than you've been. He was crying. Actually sobbing. Mom, I can't. Don't thank me. Just show up Monday. Fight for her. Be the father your dad taught you to be. Be the man I know you're capable of being. The custody hearing took 4 hours. Grueling, emotional, brutal. Nicole's lawyer threw everything at the wall. Said Danny was financially unstable. Unemployed essentially. Living in poverty. Unfit environment for a child. Rebecca methodically destroyed every argument. Showed the court Danny's pay stubs from the warehouse. $10.50 an hour, but steady, consistent. Showed photos of his apartment. Small, yes, but clean and safe. Showed character references from his shift supervisor and 2 coworkers. Then she showed the mortgage fraud evidence. The lies. The manipulation. Nicole's attempt to flee the country with Emma, to take her away from her father permanently. Judge Martinez was a mother herself. You could see it in her eyes, in how she looked at Emma in the court-appointed supervisor's arms. Primary physical custody to the father, she ruled. Supervised visitation for the mother, pending successful completion of parenting classes and financial counseling. Neither parent may leave the state with the child without court permission. Nicole sobbed. Loud, dramatic, theatrical. Her lawyer patted her shoulder consolingly. Danny just sat there frozen, staring at nothing, like he couldn't process what had just happened. After, in the courthouse hallway, Danny approached me slowly. Emma was with a court supervisor, wearing a little pink dress. Big brown eyes. She was beautiful. Perfect. Mom, Danny said quietly. Can I talk to you for a minute? We stood by a tall window overlooking the parking lot. Autumn sun streaming through. I'm sorry, he said. The words came out broken. For everything. For the house. For the money. For the belt. For all of it. I'm so sorry. I looked at him. Really looked at him. He'd lost weight. Had dark circles under his eyes that made him look 10 years older. But something was different in his posture. Something in the way he held himself. Are you going to change? I asked. Really change? Or is this just words? I'm trying. I swear I'm trying. I found a therapist. Free clinic downtown. I go every Tuesday. I'm paying back the debts. $20 at a time. It'll take years, but I'm doing it. He stopped, swallowed hard. I'm trying to be the man Dad wanted me to be. The man I should have been all along. Something in my chest loosened slightly. Just a little. I can't forget what you did, I said. And I can't go back to how things were before. That's over. That version of us is dead. I know. But Emma needs her father. And her grandmother. She deserves to have family who loves her properly. He looked up, hope flickering in his eyes. Fragile, tentative, afraid to believe. Supervised visits, I said firmly. You bring her to my house. Sundays at 2. I'll make lunch. We'll spend time together. All three of us. But if you lie to me again, if you ask me for money, if you manipulate me, if you cross any line. I won't. I swear on Dad's grave I won't. Mom, I promise you. Then we'll try. We'll start over. With boundaries this time. Real ones. He nodded, tears streaming down his face. I walked away without hugging him. Left him standing there in that courthouse hallway. Didn't look back. Outside, the October air was cold and clean and sharp. I could breathe again. Carol was waiting in her car at the curb. Well, he got primary custody. And you? And we're starting over. Slowly. With rules. She smiled. Robert would be so proud of you. I thought about that as we drove home. About Robert. About his last words at his father's funeral. Don't spoil him, but take care of him. Maybe I'd finally figured out how to do both. I'd given Danny money again. $47,000. But not for him this time. For Emma. For truth. For justice. For the future. I'd lost my son once. But maybe, just maybe, I'd saved him too. Only time would tell. The house was mine again. Completely, legally, permanently mine. The mortgage was gone. My retirement account was nearly empty. But I was free. Really, truly, finally free. And that was worth everything. 3 years have passed since that courtroom. 3 years since I spent $47,000 to save a granddaughter I'd never held. I'm 69 now. My hair is more gray than brown. I need reading glasses for everything, even my phone. My knees ache when it rains. But I'm here, still in my house. The house Robert and I bought in 1983 for $68,000. The house they tried to take from me. It's mine. Fully, completely, legally mine. No mortgage. No lies. No fear. Sundays are different now. Danny comes at 2 o'clock. Every single week without fail. He drives a 2008 Toyota Camry, silver with minor dents. Paid cash. Saved for 9 months. He's so proud of that car. I can see it in the way he washes it every Saturday morning, the way he checks the oil religiously. Emma is 3.5 years old now. She calls me Nana. She has Danny's eyes and Robert's smile, and when she runs into my house, it's like she thinks it's the best place in the whole world. Maybe it is. For her. Last Sunday, we made cookies together. Chocolate chip. Emma stood on the wooden stool at my counter, flour everywhere, chocolate smeared on her face and in her hair. Danny watched from the doorway, leaning against the frame. Smiling. Really smiling. Not the fake smile from before, the one that never reached his eyes. The real one. Nana, I did it. I put all the chips in. Emma held up the wooden spoon triumphantly, dripping batter. You did. Perfect job, sweetheart. Can we make more next week? Absolutely. She hugged me then. Small sticky arms around my neck. Chocolate on my good sweater. I closed my eyes and held her tight. This is what I almost lost. This moment. This love. This future. Danny has changed. Slowly, gradually, so slowly I almost didn't notice at first. He works at a distribution center now, forklift operator. $15 an hour. Not much, but honest work. He shows up on time every day. Stays late when they need him. Got promoted to shift lead last month with a $2 raise. He paid back the mortgage debt. Took him nearly 2 years. $20 here, $50 there, every spare cent. The bank eventually agreed to settle for 42% of the total. Danny paid every single cent of the settlement. Showed me the receipt, laminated it, keeps it in his wallet. He still goes to therapy. Every Tuesday evening without fail. Free clinic on Roosevelt Road that serves low-income clients. He told me once it's the hardest thing he's ever done. Harder than paying back the debt. Harder than losing everything. Looking at yourself honestly, he said. Really looking at who you are and what you've done. It's brutal, Mom. I understood completely. I'd been doing the same thing. Nicole moved to Arizona 2 years ago. Works at a coffee shop in Scottsdale. She calls Emma every Wednesday evening. FaceTime for exactly 10 minutes. Emma shows her drawings, tells her about preschool. Nicole listens now, says the right things, asks real questions. She called me 6 months ago. Late at night, after 11. I almost didn't answer. Maggie? Her voice was completely different. Quieter, softer, uncertain. I know it's late. I just wanted to say, I'm sorry. For everything. For all of it. I was awful. I was selfish. I blamed everyone except myself. I didn't say anything. Just listened, phone pressed to my ear. I'm in therapy too, she continued. Group sessions for people with shopping addiction. I know it sounds stupid, but it helps. I'm learning things about myself. And I'm taking classes. Business management. Online degree. I don't know. Maybe I can do something real someday. Something honest. That's good, Nicole. I don't expect you to forgive me. I don't deserve that. I just wanted you to know I'm trying. For Emma. And for myself too. We talked for 20 minutes that night. About small things. The weather in Arizona. Emma's favorite picture books. How hard it is to start over when you're 33 years old with nothing. When we hung up, I felt something unexpected. Not forgiveness exactly. Not yet. But something close to it. Something like hope for her. Carol still lives next door. We have coffee every single morning at 8. She's 72 now. Retired from the post office last year. We sit on my back porch and watch the birds at the feeder. Cardinals, blue jays, sometimes a woodpecker. We talk about everything and nothing. You did good, Maggie, she said last week, warming her hands on her mug. With Danny. With Emma. With yourself most of all. I almost lost everything. But you didn't. That's what matters. You fought for yourself when it counted most. She's right. But it took me 66 years to learn what she'd known all along. Love without boundaries isn't real love. It's enabling. It's fear disguised as generosity. It's poison wrapped in pretty paper. Robert tried to tell me. Don't spoil him, he'd said. He saw what I couldn't see, what I refused to see. That protecting Danny from every consequence was the same as hurting him. That giving him everything was teaching him nothing. I think about that constantly now. About all the times I said yes when I should have said no. All the money I gave when I should have let him struggle. All the times I smoothed things over when I should have let him fail and learn. I thought I was being a good mother. I was being a scared one. Scared of losing him. Scared of his anger. Scared of being alone. Scared of not being needed anymore. But letting him steal from me didn't keep him close. It pushed him further away. Into debt. Into lies. Into becoming someone even he didn't recognize anymore. The house is quiet during the week. Just me and my thoughts. I've gotten used to it. Started to like it, even. I read more now. Garden more. Carol and I take long walks around the neighborhood in the evenings. I joined a book club at the public library. We meet every other Thursday and argue about novels over cheap wine and cookies. I don't need as much as I thought I did. The house feels bigger somehow with less worry filling it up. Last month, I was cleaning out the attic, finally tackling boxes I'd avoided for years. I found a box of Robert's things. His work shirts, still smelling faintly of metal and oil. His lunchbox with the dented corner. A photo album I'd completely forgotten about. Pictures of Danny throughout his childhood. Baby photos with that serious expression. Birthday parties with homemade cakes. Little League in a uniform too big. High school graduation in his cap and gown. His wedding, smiling next to Nicole in her expensive white dress. In every single photo, I'm there somewhere. In the background or beside him. Smiling. Proud. Loving so hard I forgot about everything else. But looking at them now with different eyes, I see something else. I see a woman who loved so hard she forgot to love herself. Who gave so much she had nothing left. Who confused sacrifice with love. Robert's in some of the photos too. He's always watching Danny with this expression. Not the soft indulgence I had. Something else. Something like expectation. Like he was waiting for Danny to stand up, to grow up, to become the man he was capable of being. He was right to wait. He was right to expect more. I wish I'd understood that sooner. Could have saved us all so much pain. But maybe I needed to learn it the hard way. Through theft and lies and betrayal. Through standing in my kitchen watching my son hold a belt like a weapon. Through losing everything to finally understand what mattered. Maybe that was the only way I'd finally see the truth clearly. Last Sunday, after we finished the cookies, Emma wanted to read a book. She picked one from the shelf by herself. The Brave Princess and the Dragon. We sat on the couch together, Emma between Danny and me. I read it out loud in different voices. About a princess who wasn't waiting to be rescued by anyone. Who went into the dragon's cave herself with nothing but her courage. Who was scared but went anyway because it was the right thing to do. Nana, Emma said when I finished, looking up at me with those serious eyes. Are you brave like the princess? I looked at her, at those big brown eyes full of trust and innocence. I'm trying to be, sweetheart. I think you are. You're the bravest Nana in the whole world. Danny's eyes were wet. He turned away quickly, cleared his throat. She's right, Mom. You really are. I don't know if that's actually true. Most days I still feel like that woman in the kitchen 3 years ago. Scared. Confused. Not knowing what to do or who to trust. But I did something. I said no. I set boundaries. I fought back when it would have been easier to give in. And maybe that's what bravery really is. Not the absence of fear. But the choice to act despite it. To do the hard thing even when the easy thing is right there waiting. The house is worth more now. Real estate prices climbed steadily. My neighbors sold their place last year for $615,000. Mine is probably worth something similar, maybe more. I could sell it, move somewhere smaller, easier to maintain. A condo maybe. Something with no stairs, no yard work, no maintenance. But I won't. This house holds my entire life. Robert's life. Danny's childhood. The good years and the impossibly hard ones. It's more than walls and floors and a roof. It's memory made solid. It's history I can touch. It's home in the deepest sense of that word. And I fought for it. Earned it twice. Once with Robert, saving $50 at a time for 30 years. Once alone, standing up to my own son when every instinct screamed to give in. It's mine. And that means something profound. I think about other women sometimes. Other mothers and grandmothers out there. Sitting in houses they're about to lose. Saying yes when everything inside them screams no. Giving money they can't afford because family asks for it. sacrificing themselves on the altar of other people's choices because that's what good mothers supposedly do. I want to tell them something. Something I learned too late, but not too late to matter. You can love someone completely, with your whole heart, and still set firm boundaries. You can be a wonderful mother and still say no. You can help your children without destroying yourself in the process. Love doesn't mean suffering in silence. It doesn't mean emptying your bank account. It doesn't mean accepting abuse of any kind. It doesn't mean sacrificing your security for someone else's wants. Real love, the kind that actually lasts and matters, has limits, has rules, has respect built into its very foundation. I didn't know that before. I thought unlimited giving was the same as unlimited love. I thought saying yes to everything meant I loved more. I was completely wrong. The best thing I ever did for Danny was stop helping him the wrong way. Stop enabling. Stop making it easy. Let him fall. Let him face real consequences for his choices. Let him decide who he wanted to be. And he chose growth. Slowly, painfully, one hard day at a time. But honestly, that's the real gift. Not the money I gave over the years. Not the sacrifices I made. But the boundaries I finally set. The word, no, I finally learned to say. Emma is playing with blocks now on my living room floor. Building a tower carefully, tongue between her teeth in concentration. Danny is helping her, handing her pieces, steadying the structure when it wobbles. They're laughing together. The afternoon sun comes through the window, warm and golden and perfect. This is what I saved. Not just the house. Not just the money. This moment right here. This family. This chance to start again with truth instead of lies, with boundaries instead of enabling. I'm 69 years old. I'm not rich anymore. My retirement account is a fraction of what it should be. I'll probably need to work part-time eventually. Maybe at Target or the library. Something to supplement Social Security. But I have my home. My dignity. My self-respect. My granddaughter. And a son who's learning, day by day, to be better than he was. That's enough. More than enough. It's everything that actually matters. Sometimes at night, I sit on my back porch alone. Look up at the stars. Think about Robert. Wonder what he'd say about all of this if he could see us now. I think he'd be proud. Not because I got the house back. Not because I won in court. But because I finally understood what he tried to teach me all those years ago. A man stands on his own 2 feet. And a mother who truly loves him lets him stand, even when every instinct screams to catch him before he falls. Because falling is how we learn to stand up properly. Pain is how we learn to make better choices. Consequences are the only real teacher. If you're listening to this story right now, maybe you're going through something similar. Maybe you have a child who keeps asking for money. A parent who keeps taking advantage. A spouse who keeps lying. A family member who keeps crossing lines. Maybe you're wondering if you're wrong to feel angry. To want boundaries. To consider saying no for once in your life. You're not wrong. You're waking up. And that's the crucial first step. The second step is harder. It's action. It's choosing yourself when everyone expects you to choose them. It's standing firm when standing firm feels cruel and selfish. But it's not cruel. It's real love. The kind with boundaries. The kind that says, I love you, but I also love myself. And I won't let you destroy either of us anymore. That's what I learned in a kitchen with a belt. In a courtroom with a judge. In 3 years of Sunday afternoons making chocolate chip cookies. I learned that saving someone sometimes means stepping back and letting them save themselves. That the highest form of love sometimes looks like the word, no. And that the house I really needed to protect wasn't the one at 412 Maple Street in Naperville, Illinois. It was the one inside me. The one where my dignity lived. My self-respect. My boundaries. My sense of self-worth. That house is still standing. Stronger than it's ever been. And no one's taking it from me ever again. Thank you for listening to my story. For letting me share what I learned the hard way. I hope it helps someone out there who needs to hear this today. Someone who needs permission to say no. Someone who needs to know that boundaries aren't selfish, they're necessary. That real love can be fierce and kind and firm all at once. If this story meant something to you, I'd be so grateful if you'd subscribe to Grandmama Radio. Hit that like button below. Turn on notifications so you don't miss future stories. There are more stories to tell. More lessons learned through tears and struggle. More lives that found their way back to solid ground. We're all walking each other home in this life. Might as well do it together, learning from each other's mistakes and victories. Thank you for being here. And remember this above all else: you're braver than you think. You're stronger than you know. And you're worthy of the same love and respect you give everyone else. Take care of yourself. Protect yourself. Set those boundaries. You're worth fighting for.